Welcome back, my friends! I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing Strategic Command World at War World War II, playing as the Allies. Now, I'm very excited to start out our offensive maybe against the Germans as the Soviets. Now, the Germans are still of course going very strong and pommeling us every turn, but I do feel we are making some progress. As the UK, we just landed a couple of first paratroopers over here in Norway, starting to attack this German garrison, hoping to take Bergen. Also have some people here on these supply lines of the Royal Marines, which I'm going to send to Trondheim. And we do have some Americans on the Atlantic Ocean over here, trying to go directly on towards Africa and attacking Algiers over there. So that is very exciting, and I am hoping that we are going to see quite a bit of success over there, especially on Norway and the Eastern Front. So, without further ado, of course I should also mention that we do have Japan in the game, and we are starting to do some island hopping over here. We did destroy the Imperial Japanese Army quite a bit, although they do still have some very powerful armies down here in the Java region and in this Southeast Asian region, and of course they do at least have still one battleship. I'm not entirely sure what else they might have. This destroyer screen is pretty much guarding our advance on Norway. So let's end our turn. Let's hand it over to the Axis and then see what we can do. Some partisan activity in Greece. That is very nice for us. We are sailing some troops around, getting some tanks from the Pacific Theater. There's a raid on Calais, which is nice to see. We are blockading Bordeaux, and we should also be blockading Brest, but I didn't have the naval forces to do that. Some rough seas apparently, not too nice. Some good... Ooh, and there we go, UK Amphibious Warfare level 1, that's extremely good. Also production technology 2. US better ground attacks and better logistics, all of these are very good developments. Also US better production, that is all very nice. So, let's see though what the Axis is going to do. I'm thinking that, you know, it is late summer, it's probably going to turn to September now, that the Axis is going to try to make a push in 1942 on the Soviets again. And I am mindful that we might be losing some units over there. Ooh, Germans suicided themselves. Yeah, so lots of things are happening. They are apparently putting out some of these aircraft, which is a sensible thing to do. Garrison being reinforced in Norway. Pulling out of the Pripyat marshes, that position was unattainable because the supply is really too bad over there. Slightly worried about this AA unit, which is too weak really. Yeah, and there we go. The air fights. Ooh. Really losing out on our escorts over there. This core will be damaged heavily. And the position in Riga over there is very much threatened. Yeah. So these guys will come under attack strongly. Yeah, just look at all of these bombs making runs on these guys. That must be the fourth or so bombing run. It is lucky that we do have the AA right behind that though. Even though it's not too... Heavy German tanks pushing up on us, and they might... we are losing tanks! And Riga will be obliterated over here, and that will open an attack on our Katyusha missiles over there. Rocket launchers. Horrible turn for us. Losing at least an army and a corps and the tanks. And potentially these guys down here. Yeah, they will still circle out these guys, I think. I would have hoped that we are doing a little bit better by now. And this army is so elite by now. Three experience points. But at least down here, things are looking up a little bit. And we are finally making some damage on these Volkskriegsjägers. Defensive artillery, so that is very nice, although we are still losing out a couple of units. Still some fighting going on in the Gulf of Siam. More tanks trying to flank us, but not really being successful at that. Interceptors and escorts, that is very nice. Yeah, we are not even getting damaged. Although we might very well be losing some experience. Sorry, morale. Interesting to see the Japanese pulling back. Yeah, the fall of Riga really is hurting us badly. Ooh, that might be an opportunity over there. Yeah, and our lines are being breached over here. There's no way around that. Do we need to pull back? It's so tempting. It's just so tempting to see hotspot destroyers. Okay, that's very nice. More units being spawned in India by event. I don't necessarily think I like the... Hey, wait, Narvik. Located in Bordeaux. Okay, so that does hand it over to us. There will be a supply calculation, and then we should be ready to go. So, devastating Hex's turn actually, but yeah, an army and the tank group destroyed. That is pretty hefty. So we do know about a couple of units there and there. Ooh, battleship is very important intelligence. The ground units not so much, to be honest. And the submarines over there in Bologna, that is interesting. Okay, so let's look at the southern front over here for the Soviets first. So we did lose the tank army over here, and that was definitely a hefty loss for us. The northern front seems to hold out pretty nicely, and we can now attack some of these guys a little bit more aggressively, although I'm also mindful that we do want to hold the line down here. You could be even coming over here and attack over there. These bombers attacking that wouldn't be too bad. On the other hand, what we really need to do is bring justice on this line, or pull back. Shorten our front lines might not be the worst idea. We could of course reinforce all of these guys, but then again, you know, their morale is so low. Could circle these guys in, could bring these guys down here and all of that, but is that the best idea? Don't we just want to maybe shorten it? But it would be so tempting to also destroy, just outright destroy this army. You're doing fairly well. But this position is really nicely reinforced. We do have our engineers sitting over here doing some fortifications. If we could destroy these guys, we could pull the engineers behind that and start to do some things over there. You guys are okay in readiness and morale. It's not great, but it's okay. These tanks are also okay. These guys really aren't, so you need to be pulled back anyway. So yeah, let's actually do that. You need to pull back. That means we do need to fill this gap if we want to keep this area over here. And I think we do. So I think it might actually make sense, even though you're very entrenched. Okay, let's bring down these guys, because this is a crucial spot and you are the most experienced, and that is going to be alright. And then what we can do over here is take an attack on this core, and that's a little bit unfortunate. And that does allow us to upgrade or reinforce our AA unit over there, and that makes the situation a little bit more tenable over here in the north. Well, sorry, I mean to say that we actually need to reinforce over here in the north. And then again... Okay, what we can do is bring up the tanks down here. Could attack. Can do a bombardment with our tactical bombers. Though I'm mindful to reduce the morale of these heavy bombers, because I think they are the most troublesome. But before we do that, actually, let's conduct some strikes on these Italian bombers who have parked along the coast. that does allow our forces to come in. Maybe reduce them at least a little bit. And that's fine. Yeah, so take these guys out. Plug the defenses by moving up everyone over here. And that is fine. And you cannot make an advance over there. But I'm worried about these mechanized units. If we do attack, we are left at an 8 over there, which is not the greatest. And we definitely want to keep someone in this town over here. On the other hand, we do have some more mechanized units over here, actually. You couldn't... Well... You know what? Let's attack with the tanks first. Not too great, but they should be able to do some morale damage. Bring up the mechanized forces. Strike again. A little bit so-so, really. Oh, and we can't even strike twice with our tanks here. But... Now you are fairly safe over here, so let's attack first. That's okay, and then you can attack without losing someone, and these guys are shattered, so that is extremely good for us. So we're gonna move this core in. This core is gonna watch over the north. These guys are gonna move in over there. Then some of you guys really can be reinforced, and that is fine and lovely. That does leave the question what we are going to do with our engineers. We could actually have... God damn it. Should have moved the engineers over here and started to fortify. But since we can't do that, so we could move the engineers over here. Could also move them over there. But yeah, over here might be fine. Just so that we can be reinforcing our line in the north. So we can't directly reinforce the city, which is unfortunate, of course. Can also pull these tanks back, swap these guys out, although that would reduce morale. Not necessarily, though. Okay, let's do that. Let's bring you in here, you there, and then I'm gonna ask you to set mode 45 and build up a second line immediately behind us. And that should be very good, I think, yeah. So that does about settle it for the south. Except these fighters need to be reinforced. And you know what, I guess these fighters too. I'd ideally like to move you up, but that's alright. Good, that does settle the north. In the south, in the north, I would ideally like to recapture Riga, but it doesn't seem to be possible right now. This core over here, let's make sure that that is alright. You guys are pretty fine, actually. Your morale is also pretty decent, so you could actually attack the first German corps. Some not too bad trades actually starting to appear over here. But some dire reinforcements also on some of the troops that we pulled back just a little bit. But who should really be starting to come in a little bit more strongly. You have even some heavy tanks up here. And your readiness is okay. This army needs to be reinforced. These engineers are doing their job. So I think actually the most important thing will be to establish a line over here that is strong enough. Also, just doing some damage wouldn't be the worst. Damage on these tanks, damage on some of these mechanized forces. Okay, so capturing Riga seems to be out of the question. You need to be reinforced, my friend. I mean, the morale and everything of these guys is fine, so you know what, let's reinforce the fighters. Do you want to reinforce the tactical bombers? Maybe not now, that can be a little bit expensive. Okay, so let's strike the 3rd German army for a fair trade. Ah, and of course it's not. But it is nice to see their morale going down, and this is one of the most experienced German armies, so yeah, I think that's a good approach over there. And this headquarter can move it up a little bit back, then we can move these guys up. That was a mistake. But you can hold out at least over here, so yeah, I think that's alright. Did I want to put someone over here? Did I forget? Okay, you can't move up. Do I have a cavalry corps over here as well? Interesting. I think I made a mistake over there. So, anyone able to move up? You can move up. You cannot though. Neither can you. That is a little bit inelegant, but might not be the worst actually. So let's keep you as you are. So there is a little bit of a bulge in our lines, but we might be able to be fine with that. It does back the question about what to do with these cavalry forces. Let's move you up just slightly. Yeah, and everyone else should be fine. These fighters need to be reinforced. You could be over-strengthened. Just generic traits. Yeah, this one still is looking tempting. We could put you down here. So, how is your readiness? 70%. You're 62. Okay, so let's strike you. Trade. Remove you. Move you in. Conduct another strike over here. Ah. Move you back, move this army in, and finish these guys off. Very nice. So they just lost a very, very experienced army, and that to me is very lovely. That does leave these two guys down here, and they are actually a little bit spent, so not going to be too unhappy about that actually. Nothing else we can reinforce though, except for these tactical bombers, which are extremely costly, and that's going to be alright. Likewise the battleship and the light cruiser that we could use to hunt down the German destroyer squadron, but I'm not too convinced that that is the right way to go. These heavy tanks do need to recover some morale, so that is alright as well. Engineers are building up their thing, these forces, everything seems to be fine over here, so yeah, let's actually place our new units as the Soviets then. These are a couple of corps, so that should also be very helpful. I do think we need to reinforce our lines down here a little bit, because I do see too many units that are, I mean basically our entire infantry lines are in the front lines, even some mechanized forces, and I don't particularly like our mechanized forces to be in the front line. So yeah, let's place one of you down there anyway, and you know what, I think a second one wouldn't be too bad, so that we can finally use some of our more mobile forces to break out over here, and that should be fine. Good. The other one will be placed in Cherkasy over here, and then we are going to place the Moscow Corps over here somewhere. So I'm guessing they will try to break through on these tanks. Also thinking that they will be trying to do something funny down here. We do have some forces scattered about over here, so let's be a little bit more mindful of the south down there, and that I think should be fine. Right, so we do have about 285 points. How's our research looking as the USSR? Industrial technology and AA defenses would both be extremely good for us, as would advanced tanks. I'm also thinking about armored warfare, which we would actually be able to benefit, I think, from the German advances into that technology. And it would be an instant upgrade, and it would mean our tanks can attack twice. Is there any other benefit to that? Yeah, would increase the unit morale. So you know what, we are going to spend actually some points on armored warfare here as the USSR. That doesn't leave us with too many points, and I actually think it might make sense then to do an upgrade on the tactical bombers, or reinforce the tactical bombers, actually, that is what I mean to say. Good! Let's briefly look at the reports. I don't think the Germans rebuilt any of their navy. Yeah, they only have 2 units left. Japan only 6, so these patrols here in the north, in the Arctic Sea, are a little bit pointless, but we'll pretend. Good! That does settle the turn for the USSR, so we do have some time left, but I do think that we can cut the episode here and then come back towards the Western Allies' turn. We do have some very exciting things, the landing of all of these US forces blinking over here in the Atlantic, on the North African coast, or at least the preparations for that, the fight in Norway, and of course the hunt for the Japanese Navy and the island hopping in the Pacific. So, looking very much forward to these things, and I will see you guys in the next time. Bye bye.